So the first thing we do is to define our data class of nodes. Which should be data class of nodes. Takes in nodes title of type string and nodes. Before we go on to design the view for the recycler view, let's go to the build.gradle to activate or enable data binding. So it will be right in the Android tag. You can activate or enable data binding by typing data binding and tag enable is equal to true. Then you sync the project to add data binding. Let's actually add a material design a little to our project by implementing material.io too as well. So now let's go into design the view that will be used to populate the recycler view. So we name it item notes. We need to be able to use data binding in this layout. So to use data binding, you will put it in the layout tag and copy this attribute, put it in the layout and put the constraint in this whole layout tag. Then we say data tag variable, we will name it notes and search for our data class, which was notes. Then over here, it's up to you how you design your notes title and your notes body or the content. So over here, what you want to take notes, let's import this. What you want to take note over here is this line 25. Realize that there's this at and into brackets notes title. What this is actually doing is binding this text view to this notes title that is in the data class, this notes title. So when we populate the data class with our data, every title will be binded in this part. That is doing it in the recycler view. So let's continue. I would actually explain more on that one too as well. Then we do the same thing for the content too as well. So we realize Android text has at and notes underscore content. The first note is actually referencing from here because this variable is pointing to our data class. Now let's go and design or write the code for the recycler view. So we create a class called RecyclerView Adapter. It's up to you. You can name it anything you want. So first of all, we create the view folder also here. You put it in binding of type item nodes binding. So the naming convention for data binding is the name, the first name, the name of the layout that's using the data binding. So it's capital. So you realize it's item, notes, then binding. So that's how to identify it. Then we'll make this class. That's the recycler holder. Return view holder, recycler view, sorry. Recycler view dot view holder. Let's import recycler view and do binding dot root. So in the recycler adapter class, make a taking context because we will need it, and we make it taking an interface which we will name it long breast of type long breast. So we are yet to define this interface. We make this class be of type list adapter, takes in the nodes and a recycler view holder as well. And we say companion. So we say companion object of type diff until we import it dot item callback of type nodes. Then we override the members and we say new item dot nodes content dot nodes title. That is if the new item nodes title is the same as the old item nodes, then remove that item. Likewise, we'll do it if the contents are the same. Nodes content equal to old item dot nodes content. That should be boolean. Sorry, it should be boolean. Then we override the methods on bind view holder and on create view holder. So we don't create a variable layout inflator to be layout inflator dot from parents dot context, and create a binding variable to be item nodes binding inflate the layout. Then we return a recycler view view holder, recycler holder, then pass in the binding. So on the unbind view holder, we create variable to get a current item position, passing position, then holder dot binding. So we bind all the nodes to our recycler view, and then we will now come and handle the long press. Actually, let me do holder dot binding dot execute pending. So now we are now going to do the long press. So when you long press on any of the item in the recycler view, the pop-up should actually work. So we create a set on long press, and then we pass in our interface of pop-up menu. So this is a function in our interface which we've not yet done. So we create an interface, extract in a different file, and we call this, we actually put in a function to be pop up menu, which takes in a view of type view. We have to return at set on long press. Set is true. So now whenever we long press, this interface will be passed and we will get the view in the main activity. So let's also do data binding for this main activity. So just as we did for the layout in the recycler view, you basically replicate the same thing over here. You copy this to put it over here, and then delete it, reduce it, and put it on top. So we need our recycler view too as well. So we put in our recycler view, do a match. We set our constraints to top of parent, start of parent. Then set our layout manager to be linear layout manager, and also do set adapter equal to at, let me see, adapter. So we have to now define what is an adapter in the recycler view. So we do the variable, actually data tag first. Then we set our variable of, maybe the name should be, the name should be adapter because we've set it as an adapter over here. Then you locate the recycler view adapter. So now this recycler view will be using this type. So if you have multiple recycler view with multiple recycler view classes, then you basically map them out to which recycler should use which recycler view class. And close it. So then we have to now create a file which will link the use of this recycler view by creating an extension function. So let's call it binding, general binding. General binding. Actually, let's do of type file. So we annotate it with binding adapter. Then import. Then set the value to be set adapter. So this set adapter, the value set adapter is the same name we actually placed over here. So this will be calling, so this set adapter will be over here. Then function recycler view dot binding or bind recycler view adapter. Then we define our adapter or recycler view. Recycler view dot. Then import this. And define our class. Define our we say this dot run, so we get the same instance of the recycler view, and take that this dot we set has fixed size to be true. You can only it's up to you. Then we define the adapter. So basically we are linking this recycler view to this class or to this extension function, not to the class, to this extension function. Binding. So here the naming convention will be capital A activity main, then binding. After activity main binding by lazy, then data binding util that sets content view activity main binding, passing this and passing the layouts and apply a life cycle to it. So over here we added the data source to our recycler view. So we define or create an instance of the recycler view and passing the contents and passing the long press. I don't know why this. So you have to initialize and then we bind the adapter to the main activity by doing it. Binding adapter equal to nodes.adapter. So now we create an object for this mock data. Since we want it to be a single thing, we create an object for it. And this object, we define our function, which is data to return a mutable list of nodes and we define the nodes list to be a mutable list of nodes. Mutable list of nodes. So we write a for loop for I is 0 until 1, then create our nodes, passing in nodes equals nodes. I have to be careful about this nodes, passing in the nodes title, passing in the nodes content. So I've already prepared some data which you'll copy and paste. Remove this and do for the content too as well. Make this line down. So this was first note, and we will do for another note too as well. So this note too. So we add this notes to the note list. Add to the note list and note list, but add note list to then we return this note list. So that's what we'll be given over here. And then we come in, override the pop-up menu, and this is where we basically write the code for the pop-up. So what happens over here is when we do a long press, right? Because we are implementing the long press, this method, right, which is the pop-up menu, which is in the interface, right? We implement that method and you use it in the recycler view. So over here, you actually set a vibrator so that when you do a long press, there will be a small vibration from the phone. Context dot vibration service. We'll do it as vibrator. Then we wrap it. We wrap our next codes in try and catch a exception. Then a dot print stack trace. So whenever I want to use the vibrator, you have to pass in a permission to the 100 manifest vibration. We do it as little as 50 milliseconds. Then write our pop-up menu dot inflate. Sorry, pop-up menu dot okay, if I define our pop-up menu, so let's define it. Pop-up menu equal to pop-up menu, passing the application context, and we pass in this view that is coming from the recycler view. So pop-up dot inflate, pop-up menu dot inflate, r dot menu dot pop-up menu. So I've already defined my menu. So when you move to the resource to menu, I actually have five items: pin with the logo, lock with the logo, share with the logo, move with the logo, and delete with the logo. Remember you can actually omit the show as action attribute, or you can put it in. And this I omitted it over in the pin and brought it in the other items. So we've inflated our menu XML file into the pop-up menu. Then we'll do a set on menu item click list on each of the items in the menu. Set on item, and when an item menu dot item ID, if click on pin, then if you write a toast, I return true first, and you write a toast, here's copy and paste. And we do the same thing for the 5 other items, which was pin dot lock. We will display a lock toast. We do for share too as well. Share. Move. And we do for delete. And else, just point to true. And we now show the pop-up menu. I say pop-up menu equal to pop-up menu class.java dot get declared field names. Over here, if you get the spelling wrong, the pop-up menu won't work. Pop up. So it's a small m and pop-up dot apply. This dot is accessible to true. And do how menu equal to pop. Let's name this pop-up. Otherwise, to conflict with what is already on top. So pop-up dot get the pop-up menu, and do menu dot java class dot apply get declared method name. Over here, we are forcing set force show icon. Likewise, if you make a mistake over here too, with the spelling of set force show icon, your pop-up menu won't work. Class.java, and we invoke and true. So when we run it again, realize we're getting an error. Okay, usually if there are errors using data binding, it means you didn't spell, or I didn't spell something wrong. Here it is. Supposed to be set adapter. Set adapter. Because that's the same thing would be used by set adapter. And set adapter. So normally check your spellings when you are using data binding, because at least error spelling would make your application crash. So let's wait for it to long press. Voila, and there it is. Long press. Voila, that's it. Because I'm using an emulator, I can't feel the vibration, of course. Long press, and that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video.